Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
Good morning to you. It is Monday, April 29th. Of course, we've been here for hours doing the early morning show. I've seen other people walking in today going, shoo!
Yeah, exhausted from all the activity.
Fiesta. Yeah, all done. And we'll talk more about that coming up. But first of all, this morning, calling all Kyles. The city of Kyle, about an hour northeast of San Antonio, is trying to fill its city limits with Kyles in yet another attempt at a Guinness World Record. City officials said they're asking anyone with the name Kyle to join them May 18th to break the record for the largest same-name gathering.
So people named Kyle and spelled that way are asked to meet at Kyle Fair. The participation is free, and Kyles must show proof of their first name to participate. So middle names, last names, and nicknames will also not be accepted.
My son's middle name is Kyle, but he's out of there.
He can't make it.
Not included. All right, city officials are encouraging Kyles to pre-register, which can be done online. We have a link to that on KSAT.com. City officials said this is their fifth attempt to break the record. The current record is held in Bosnia, where 2,325 participants named Ivan gathered back in July of 2017.
Interesting. So last year, the gathering of the Kyles brought in 1,490 Kyles from all over the country. So the Kyle Fair takes place, this is from May 17th through the 19th at Lake Kyle Park.
Lake Kyle Park.
Yeah. Calling all Kyles.
Calling all Kyles.
Aww. I mean, that'll be good if we, well, I would say we. It's kind of like it's close to San Antonio, if we break the record.
Yep. Yeah, I looked this morning. It would take you 56 minutes to get there from downtown right now.
Yeah, so all San Antonio Kyles
head
hopefully
to Kyle.
Yeah,
and we'll
make a trip.
Other travel times with RJ coming up in just a moment.
Yeah, but for now, we'll see how it's looking out there for the Kyles in this city.
It's looking pretty good for all my friends named Kyle. Did you guys get all the confetti out of your hair? We're good.
Yeah, not too bad.
I escaped this year.
Did you?
Without getting.
Yeah, actually, I didn't. My daughter had a bunch, but I was good.
It takes a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some fog this morning, guys. It's interrupted the morning commute a little bit. It's getting better though. Visibility's starting to come up. And let's look at the map real quick. San Antonio International is fine. Stinson down to about 2 miles. Bernie Stage has been kind of the one last holdout. Them and Uvalde. But the fog's going to lift here soon, and we're going to be looking at a lot of sun today, which means it's going to be toasty. 76 in San Antonio right now. You see kind of where the clouds are. We've got breaks over San Antonio, but you go, say, over to Carrizo Springs or Uvalde, it's quite cloudy. 76 in Kennedy, 74 in New Braunfels. We're already up to 78 at Port SA, so that just goes to show you it is going to be warm today. Molds jumped up. Want to let you know that 3,170. It makes sense after the rain that we got yesterday. It was good rain, so molds will probably stay a little elevated this week with more rain in the forecast. So let's talk about weather headlines. An active pattern. We've got some storm chances midweek, and the reason we're watching those closely is because we could see some severe weather associated with this. Now it's going to be hard to pinpoint the timing. The way the flow is setting up, it's hard to say exactly when and where, but we do know that the atmosphere is set up for some stronger storms. And we've got an April update for you. We've got some good rain this month. We're above average. We'll show you the numbers here in just a few minutes. But with some of that fog out there, how is the morning commute winding up? Let's check in with RJ for the latest.
Yeah, Justin, and you were talking about it. Right now, fog, a major issue out in parts of the hill country right now. As we take a look at our camera here at I-10 at Comfort. So there's been a major crash that's been reported in this area. Now, you do see from this traffic camera that traffic is still kind of moving through this area, but I believe this camera is a little bit further eastbound. So let's take a look at our map here and see exactly what we're looking at. So just got off the phone with TransGuide a little while ago. They said this is a multi-vehicle crash that has shut down a stretch of I-10 East. All the main lanes there, basically from this area, which is the Holiday Road area, back to US 87. So right now, traffic is being diverted off of 10. You're going to have to go on 87 through the town of Comfort and swing back around to get back on the highway in this area. So again, we're still trying to get more reports on what exactly is going on out there. Obviously, this is a little bit of a distance from the San Antonio metropolitan area. Speaking of the northwest side, so a little bit closer here, I-10 westbound at Bernie Stage Road, we have a stalled vehicle in that area for all of our folks in the Leon Springs area. And let's get back to near the downtown area. We have a stalled vehicle, US 90 eastbound at Acme Road. Right now, this is backing up traffic a little bit here out to about South Callahan Road. And I believe I do have a TransGuide shot of that. Let me see if I could put, there it is right there. All right, interesting angle here again. 90 eastbound at Highway 151. We see this vehicle off to the side. It looks like we have another emergency vehicle back here. I just saw a TxDOT, one of the hero workers kind of making his way through this area. So make sure to give them enough space to do what they have to do out there as far as cleaning out some of this issues there on our roadways. But again, I-10 eastbound Comfort, all main lanes are closed right now. Follow us on KSAT.com for more information on that. Mark and Stephanie, back to you guys.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Let's look at today's 9 at 9.
We're still waiting to learn the names of the two men killed in a shooting during Fiesta this past weekend. San Antonio police say the 18-year-old and 20-year-old got into a fight at Market Square and shot each other. 4 women were hurt but are expected to recover. This is the second year in a row where there's been a shooting at Fiesta.
Pressure is growing for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to secure a ceasefire deal that would free the hostages. Among those protesting in Israel are the family members of some of those hostages, whose calls were renewed over the weekend when Hamas released videos of 2 of the hostages, including another Israeli American.
A severe weather outbreak spanning multiple days has left its mark on East Texas. Widespread damage shown in Trinity County, north of Houston, where a tornado touched down. 2 people were taken to a hospital after being rescued from a damaged home. Since Friday, more than 130 tornadoes have been reported across the middle of the country.
Pro-Palestine demonstrations are popping up at more universities across the U.S., and now schools are under even more pressure to respond to the protesting because graduation season is underway. Today is the last day for classes at Columbia University in New York, where the campus movement began.
The next word on interest rates is due this week, with the Fed kicking off its latest 2-day meeting tomorrow. Stubborn inflation and strong jobs numbers have crushed hopes for any rate cuts when the meeting wraps up Wednesday. But economists and investors will be looking for guidance on when the Federal Reserve might be willing to pull rates back.
With food prices chewing up more of our budget, more people are bargain hunting by hitting more stores. Over the last year, people bought groceries from an average of nearly 21 different stores, up 23% from 4 years ago.
There is news of a potential deal to bring buckets of NBA games to Amazon Prime. The streaming service would become one of the league's main homes. The agreement would also reportedly guarantee ESPN remains the home of the NBA Finals.
Apple is reportedly stepping up negotiations to bring chatbot features to the iPhone. Talks are underway with OpenAI that could lead to a deal for AI integrations into iOS 18. Sources say Apple is also considering another option, Google's Gemini chatbot.
Android users can now simultaneously download multiple apps in the Google Play Store. Previously, you had to wait for one to finish before a second could start. However, the simultaneous downloads do not apply to app updates, only fresh installs of new apps on your device. And that is today's 9 at 9. Now to a story that continues to trend online. Musician and brother of Selena, A.B. Quintanilla, apologizing after losing his cool during a performance Saturday night here in San Antonio at the Tejano Explosion Music Festival. Well, now it seems that apology video that he posted on social media just yesterday has been deleted.
Right. It all started on Saturday night when AB started talking to the crowd about them not being excited to be at the performance. He didn't feel like they were into it, which set him off. And he even brought the Cowboys into it, telling the crowd that they should support him and Tejano music like they support the Cowboys, even though they lose every year. That got the crowd booing him, and he went on to say that he wasn't going to come back to San Antonio, which some in the crowd didn't seem to mind.
Okay, so yesterday, after all that, AB posted a video on social media offering an explanation for his behavior, saying that he'd been going through a lot in the last few weeks with his health. His doctors were testing him for cancer and said he had not been taking his medication for mental health issues, so he apologized for his behavior. But we checked this morning, and the video had been deleted.
Yeah, that one has. Well, in a Know My Neighborhood follow-up, the city is pushing a new online portal to be proactive about San Antonio's housing problem.
The city says homelessness and affordable housing go hand in hand, and as Avery Everett shows us, leaders are hoping this new website will help streamline services.
How would you define the state of homelessness right now?
The need is still definitely there.
Old signs of this hotel are still here, but Sam Ministries says new horizons are in store for the people passing through.
Here we have 185 rooms for residents.
This is a look inside Sam Ministries' low barrier shelter off Cesar y Chavez. Over the last couple of months since it opened, rooms here have been filling up.
So we try to be as proactive as we can, but we're working with people in real life situations.
And Kevin is one of those people.
But I have a bad thing with my life. But right now, I want to progress and stay good. I have a daughter too.
He says Sam Ministries has given him stability while experiencing homelessness. His goal is to find permanent housing, but he says it's hard to find affordable options in San Antonio.
Just work and save money.
The most recent data from 2023 revealed more than 3,000 people are facing homelessness within San Antonio, and that number is only expected to grow in 2024. That's one of the reasons why the city created this online housing services portal to help be proactive with the current affordable housing crisis.
We have to meet people where they are.
The city's Neighborhood Housing Services Department and the San Antonio Community Resource Directory created the website, calling it a one-stop shop for housing services.
It's all about accessibility. It's all about listening to the community, understanding what the needs are.
It's part of the city's 10-year strategic housing implementation plan.
Homelessness, housing definitely go hand in hand.
This portal can connect users to more than 1,000 resources, from utility and rental assistance to eviction intervention.
We want to make sure that we are coordinated effort between our housing resources and our homeless response system.
Thousands of people are still without permanent shelter in San Antonio, but the city hopes by pushing this preventative tool, more families might reach more resources soon. Avery Everett, KSAT 12 News.
909, 75 degrees coming up on GMSA at 9.
So this isn't what you usually see on the highway. Zebras that got out of the trailer, they were being driven in.
You know, I called someone, I was like, so I found the missing zebras, like they're in my yard. Not sure what to do.
Goodness. Well, David Sears will have this story and others coming up in your morning headlines.
As we head to break, don't forget to get your tickets for the first ever Texas Eats Food Festival. It'll be May 11th at Smoke Barbecue. 20 local chefs will be out there offering samples of food, and it all benefits the San Antonio Food Bank. Win-win situation. So scan the QR code on your screen right there for tickets, or go to TexasEatsTV.com for more information. We'll be right back. Outside with live cam, some sunshine out there, kind of nice. We had some great days last week, and now that we're done with Fiesta, it's time to move into May.
I guess we can say that the Nyosa Rain Rock did its job.
It did do its job. Year.
Yes, credit where credit is due, right?
Yeah,
good job.
We'll give you credit.
We were sweating bullets, weren't we, for Friday and Saturday?
Yes, we were.
Yeah, well, and then those storms came in perfect timing Sunday morning. Yes. It was actually pretty nice, and they were, for the most part, non-severe, so that was good. We picked up some good rain. Let me show you where we stand for the month. 3.07, so we're actually above average for the month of April. That is a good number. We want to build up a surplus as we go into the summer. And here's what I'll tell you, too. We've got some more rain chances on the way, so we could end April and start May with some more good rain. That's the hope, anyway. Let me show you the visibility across the area. We checked on this at the beginning of the show. Things are improving. Bernie's at 2.5 miles. Uvalde is at 1.5 miles. So those are kind of the two spots where we're still experiencing some fog. But I think it gets better here pretty quickly. And look at the time lapse. You can see the fog roll in right about there here in San Antonio. It just never got all that thick. And now the sun is out, so we're going to see a warm afternoon. Warm and, of course, humid. Temperatures right now as we look out over the airport, 76 degrees, 74 New Braunfels, 77 in Pleasanton, still in the 60s for places like Bernie and Kerrville. And the winds have been pretty light, So this was a good setup for fog this morning, considering we have all that moisture in the ground from the weekend rains. Forecast today, noontime 84. We're going to go partly cloudy to mostly sunny this afternoon. And so that pushes temperatures up to about 90 or so. The heat index can make it feel a little bit warmer than that too. If you're going to be out and about for any length of time, it's going to be fairly toasty today. 84 at 8 o'clock, 82 at 9 p.m. All right, let's talk winds over the next couple of days. The way the atmosphere is set up, we're going to have winds coming out of Mexico in the upper parts of the atmosphere, so westerly flow aloft. At the surface, we're going to get southeasterly winds. This kind of flow can sometimes give us storms for a couple different reasons. We get little disturbances that roll along in that westerly flow aloft. And look, it doesn't take much. It just needs a little ripple in the atmosphere to go through. And then with the winds aloft coming out of the west, winds at the surface coming out of the southeast, you get a little bit of wind shear. And that's another ingredient we often need to get severe thunderstorms. So with this kind of flow, we're going to watch carefully, again, what comes out of Mexico. And by tomorrow, now this model shows a lot of rain. It's not going to be this much, but we could start to see a couple of isolated storms. But it's Wednesday into Thursday, this flow really starts to pick up. And I think that we'll have a decent chance for scattered storms Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening. These storms could become strong to severe. That's a possibility with this kind of flow. And then as we get into Thursday, same story. So those are a couple days we'll be watching. Not only that, there could be some pockets of heavy rain. Now, the other thing about this flow is that it's very hard to pinpoint exactly when and where these kind of storms will pop up. But we do know that that is a possibility, and I want to alert you of that midweek. We'll still get some chances even Friday into Saturday and possibly going into Sunday. So yes, it is an active pattern. And the Storm Prediction Center already has parts of our area highlighted for the risk of severe weather going into Wednesday. So we're going to watch it very closely for you. It's a low end risk at the moment, but we'll see how that plays out. Here's how I think it looks in the 7-day forecast. 88 tomorrow, just a 20% chance of rain, but we bump it up to a 40% chance Wednesday and Thursday. And yes, there's some severe weather possible. It doesn't mean everyone's going to get it, but just isolated severe around the area. And then more isolated chances Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Temperatures stay in the 80s, and it is April into May. This is our severe weather season, so it's something we'll watch closely, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Well, in your morning headlines, we're seeing a lot more professional baseball players than we probably wanted to see. And pandas are coming back to the U.S.
Plus, zebras on the loose, enjoying some time wandering around a neighborhood. David Sears is here with your morning headlines.
Yeah, this happened up in the Northwest. You know, people up there get really excited when they see a wild animal, I guess. You know, I mean, if we saw a cow on the side of the road, what would we do? It's a cow.
It's a cow.
You know, maybe we can help get it back inside the fence.
Right.
Or a horse, you know. Zebras gone wild in the Northwest. We'll have that in a second. When it comes to Major League Baseball, you not only have to play good, but you have to look good. And there lies the problem. We want to see what the players have, but not what they have. Like, we want to see their hitting and fielding skills. Unfortunately, they are showing a lot more than that. The players are not happy with the uniforms. First off, the pants are see-through. Then there are the wild colors, the big numbers and names. And yes, they're the butt of a lot of jokes.
MLB players are slamming the league's new uniforms because their pants are see-through. Check it out. Yeah. Oh. I get the feeling this year we're going to see a lot more dingers.
The Players Association blaming Nike. Nike spent about $1 billion on the new uniforms. You can plainly see where they went wrong. The league has looked into the situation, and they said they're going to have a remedy. All right, when it comes to zoos, there seems to be some pretty good relations between the U.S. and China. China has signed an agreement to send 2 pandas to the San Diego Zoo. The goal is to start a 10-year international giant panda conservation cooperation. That's what the China National Forestry and Grasslands Administration is telling us. The pandas, 1 male, 1 female. Didn't get the names of them, though. They'll be coming to the U.S. with a Chinese expert and breeders and veterinarians. The San Diego Zoo is doing some remodeling of the enclosures, making them larger for the new guests, bigger master suite, bigger bath, and an open concept. Yeah, they get that. The show is like a zoo, and even though they are guys wearing stripes, they're not behind the bars. No, they're hanging out on the streets up there in Washington State near Seattle. Somehow they got loose from their trailer and started grazing on the side of a very busy road. So drivers started pulling over and forming a fence with their vehicles to keep them away from the highway, which was nearby. All right, so here's the ironic thing. This all happened right outside the door of the South Fork restaurant. The zebras were a sight to see as they roamed the neighborhood.
They just started hanging out in the grass in somebody's yard over here across the street.
You know, I called someone, I was like, so I found the missing zebras, like they're in my yard. You know, not sure what to do.
The day the zebras came into North Bend.
They're really beautiful animals, and through no fault of their own, found themselves in a very confusing place. So let's just hope they all make it to home or wherever that is tonight.
Fortunately, there's some rodeo cowboys up there in the great Northwest. Called them, they got things under control, got the roamers back into their trailer and off to safety.
That's a good thing. I hear they're pretty fast. I was just looking up. Apparently, zebras can run 40 miles per hour at peak speed to obviously get away from predators out in the wild.
Yeah, or cowboys trying to rope them.
Or cowboys.
But I also discovered that lions still run faster.
Lions run faster than
Yes, sir.
zebras? Yeah. I'm not sure. How fast do pandas run?
I don't know.
That
look that one up.
But that's cool that they're coming back because it was a big deal when they left the National Zoo in Washington last year. So pandas returning just to a different coast.
But I'm telling you, if you've never been to the San Diego Zoo, it's pretty cool. So to see them go back to that zoo.
Okay, pandas run 20 according to our producer, Alex. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there you go, David.
So,
have any other questions? Alex is right there in the booth.
She's there. So.
She's got you.
She's got you.
Where's the zoo cam? When does that show up?
Right?
Later.
Soon.
Yeah.
No pandas today, though.
No.
922, 75 degrees.
Well, during quarantine, an idea was born, and now it's a small business. When we come back, how a local mother is using her experience with sensory play to provide fun for other families.
Sensory items help a lot because it helps to develop and culture fine and gross motor skills. It helps with pretend play.
Sensory kits have helped her children, and now a San Antonio mother has created these themed kits for other families, giving children a space to be creative and play.
Or Tiffany Huerta shares how her children's love of sensory activities led her to start her own business.
How did this idea start?
So it basically just started with during lockdown, we had a family tamalada that was virtual because we wanted to connect with our family. And my little girls really wanted to make tamales as well. And I wasn't that excited about eating the tamales that they were going to make because, you know, were their hands washed? So we let them do a little bit, but then I thought, oh, we can do this with Play-Doh.
And that's how Fresh Masa started.
The panaderia is so cute. So you get the little maranito, the pink cake, and the concha.
Meet Catherine Contreras Sanchez, the owner.
As an autism mom, we spent so much time doing sensory things and squishing Play-Doh that I just thought, let's bring that to everybody.
Catherine teamed up with her mom to create these Play-Doh and sensory kits.
My mom is a special education educator, and she has always wanted to do a business with me, so we came together to create Fresh Masa, which we're so proud of.
Her colorful and unique kits are sold inside the Painted Tree boutiques off 410 and online.
So it has a tiny little tortilla press in it, and then you get all these felt things that you can kind of squish in there. It has a little lime, and then it has the carne and the masa.
With these kits, Catherine is sharing her culture and hopes it brings joy to other families.
I feel like we've gotten so far away from some of the traditions that we had as kids because everyone's so busy, everyone's working to make money and pay rent and things like that, and my kids don't have the opportunities to pull the stool up to the counter and make tortillas with their grandmother, you know, like I did. And so I want them to keep that culture in their hearts, and one way to do that is through play and pretend play.
Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
Time right now is 9:27, 75 degrees. There is more ahead on GMSA at 9.
Including a recap of the NFL draft. David and RJ are going to share their thoughts about how the Cowboys and Texans did during the draft.
But before that, our top local story this morning, a shooting at Fiesta de los Reyes this past weekend. When we come back, what one local council member is saying about possible changes to next year's event. For the second Fiesta in a row, Market Square became a crime scene. Police say it's at least the second incident there in a week. This time, 2 people are dead and 4 others were injured.
It's why Fiesta de los Reyes closed earlier last night, and Daniela Ibarra spoke with the city leader about possible changes for next year.
Instead of confetti, a Fiesta celebration ends with gunfire. This is one of 2 videos we got from witnesses. This one shows officers running through Market Square towards the shots. The crowd panics.
Shots fired, shots fired.
Across the street, the second witness, David Alvarez, watched the crowds rush out. He was there for the second to last night of Fiesta de los Reyes.
I come for the cold beer and the gorditas and live music.
Police say a fight between an 18-year-old man and a 20-year-old man ruined that.
We had 2 individuals open fire on each other right in the middle of Margarita Alley.
2 officers fired their own weapons. McManus says the men who started the shootout died. 4 women were hurt, but police say their injuries aren't life-threatening. We asked police if those women were hurt by the suspects or the officers' gunfire, but they haven't responded.
I was just feeling, lucky to know that we're all okay.
Signs outside of Market Square show firearms aren't allowed in. But there's no security checkpoint making sure people are following rules.
Do you think security procedures need to change during Fiesta at Market Square?
I definitely think we'll take a look at them right after and do an analysis. I think we need to do that for all of our events. We need to do better about supporting the challenges that come with gun violence for all of our community members and make sure that we're doing a good job educating and helping support those that to prevent violence from happening in the first place.
While District 1 Councilwoman Sue Kaur and the city figure out how to make Fiesta safer, Alvarez says the shooting won't stop him from coming next year.
I may come a little bit earlier. I'm here today. I'll make arrangements to make sure I'm not here past 9 o'clock. Let's put it that way.
Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Well, we did reach out to the organizers of Fiesta de los Reyes to ask if they're planning to add more security or bag checks to next year's event, but we are still waiting to hear back from them.
Prices are going up and we're not getting paid enough.
The only thing we had was a tank of gas to get to San Antonio.
No matter where you live, housing prices are affecting your community. So what are cities doing about it? A new city website we mentioned in the first half hour of the show is just one of the solutions we're seeing to San Antonio's problem. But we wanted to take a deeper dive.
Our Solutionaries team zoomed out and looked at a wider array of solutions to San Antonio's problem to find out what's being done about it. So from tiny intensive programs to new partnerships in homelessness response, we talk with program directors and more importantly, the families themselves. So you can watch this full story by visiting the Solutionaries section of KSAT.com.
Outside with live cam, we saw a little fog around the metro area this morning. It was much worse out in the hill country. We had those issues out near Comfort. Right now, looking live at the airport. Justin, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, the fog is lifted for the most part here in San Antonio, and we're going to see a pretty quiet day here. Now, things may pick up a little bit more by midweek with some more storms in the forecast. But one thing we do know for sure was a busy weekend, not only here, but across the country when it comes to severe weather. We had so many tornado reports stretching from Friday all the way through Sunday. 129 tornadoes. That's an incredible number. And sadly, there were 5 deaths, many of them in Oklahoma, and multiple injuries. There were some large, devastating tornadoes stretching from Texas to Oklahoma, Kansas, even up into Iowa. So it's again, it's that time of year, but this was especially bad with those storms over the weekend. Rain chances for us when we're talking about storms. We do have some more opportunities coming up Wednesday and Thursday. And yes, that is a time frame where we could see a couple strong storms. So it does need to be watched. Temperatures today up around 90 here in San Antonio, 88 in Elmendorf, 88 in Seguin, 89 in Floresville. Warm afternoon with mostly sunny skies. We're going to talk more about those storm chances and the rest of the week's forecast coming up here in just a couple minutes. Guys.
Thank you, Justin. Well, some big sports news this morning. Ezekiel Elliott is reportedly returning to the Dallas Cowboys.
The NFL Network first reported that Zeke and the Cowboys are set to agree to a new one-year deal. David and RJ are back to break that down, and plus a little side note from the Spurs for season ticket holders.
Wow, yeah. The Concorde doesn't fly to Paris anymore, does it?
No more Concorde.
That's too bad.
Yep.
Yes. Well, we're going to need to take a trip because Spurs basically have notified their season ticket holders that they're going to play not one, but 2 games in Paris next season, David, versus the Indiana Pacers. Those games are scheduled for January 23rd and the 25th. In Wemby's return home.
Get your passport ready, Sears.
Man, that's going to be an expensive weekend in Paris. But hey,
and things will have just calmed down from the Summer Olympics in Paris, right?
Can you imagine what the ticket prices are going to be for that?
For Wemby's
will they be more
home
for
as
the
an NBA
game
player?
or the hotel and airline? Which will be more?
Good question.
Tough call on that
A
one.
nice
We will have to
big
see.
bundle of money for both.
Yeah, but I'm sure that the folks there will be happy to see Victor Wembanyama make his return as an official NBA player, getting able to see him at home for the first time. Yeah. But yes, David, the other big news we mentioned here, Ezekiel Elliott is returning to the Dallas Cowboys, apparently.
Well, one good thing about it, he should be well rested, be in pretty good shape, because he didn't do much with the Patriots last year in his 1 year in New England. 184 rushes, only 642 yards, 3.5 a carry. That's like the worst of his career. And so, he didn't do a whole lot of work. Yeah. So he should be injury-free and full of rest. And he's Dak Prescott's best friend.
Well, there you go. And he knows the guys. And part of the reason, too, is because the Cowboys did not take a running back. Many people thought they would do that in the draft. So apparently Zeke's representatives and the Cowboys were talking over the weekend. And I'm sure that once the draft went by, this just kind of made sense for them to reunite. So Zeke is back in the star helmet.
Well, we'll talk about that and just say when we go through the draft picks. Let's show the draft picks for the Cowboys. They went offensive linemen like 3 out of the 8 picks. But here's the interesting thing. See round 5, 174, Kalen Carson, the cornerback. Mm-hmm. The Jets picked right before the Cowboys at 173, and they took a running back out. I believe that was San Diego. No, it was South Dakota State. Mm-hmm. And all the commentators were talking about that one of the best players left. The Cowboys need a running back. They could pick him. They could pick him. And the Jets got him right before. So there's a good chance that the Cowboys would have picked a running back, but the Jets took him. So there you go. That's the way that draft goes. But look at that. Look at the pick. I mean, there's nobody that just really jumps off the page.
No, and I think, they moved back in the first round to end up getting Tyler Guyton, obviously a big guy, 6'7", tackle there from Oklahoma. So he will definitely help that. I remember the Cowboys lost Tyler Biadasz and Tyron Smith so far on the line, 2 starters from last year's team.
6'7".
Yes, big guy.
So that's 300 and something pounds. So put him up against Wemby and see how that works out.
That'd be a fun little back and forth.
Kind of an interesting. So he's as wide as Wemby is tall, probably at 355 or whatever, at 6'7". That's a big dude.
Yeah, so Cowboys went heavy on the lines. How about the Texans? Let's see those picks here real quick. They did not have a first-round pick because, remember, they traded that.
They were all over the
Vikings. Place. So they ended up just, they needed a little bit of help on the defensive backfield. They get that. Their pass defense was not great last year. So, Texans have made a lot of moves, mostly free agent signings, big trades, Stephon Diggs. So really, the draft, I'll be surprised if a lot of these guys have much of an impact on the team this year.
A lot of backups right there.
Yeah.
So, what you need some depth. So there you go. All right, San Antonio connections.
Yeah.
That got in. Oh, look at that, Millard Bradford going to the Saints. From
TCU.
There
you go. Millard Bradford, O'Connor alum, and then Rashad Wisdom, Judson alum, Brandon Madison, Brandeis High School. So good to see those guys. UTSA, a couple UIW guys there as well, getting some.
That's big time right there. Congratulations. So
absolutely.
All right, so they get some rookie camp invites. All right, San Antonio Brahmas.
The Brahmas.
The Brahmas. What is it? Horns forward. I can do that one.
Yeah.
It's that other one that I have a hard time doing.
You can't do horns up. I understand.
Although.
The Brahmas, David, taking care of business here. Quentin Dormandy, Bernie's own right there, making some plays here in the Brahmas. Take care of the Arlington Renegades up the road there, 25-15. They're 4-1, David.
And there's what is it, 10-game season?
It's
halfway through the season. They're 4-1, so they got a great shot at the playoffs. Keep things going.
Yeah.
Next thing you know,
I think it's the top 2 teams from each division that get into the postseason. So good to see the Brahmas doing some work there. They are on the road taking on the DC Defenders coming up this Sunday.
Speaking of the Texas Longhorns, here's a quick story for you, Steph. My wife went to UT. So the UT bands, we were in the stands hanging out with some insiders. UT band stops, turns, and plays 3 songs. Guess who stands up and starts doing all the thing?
Your
Wasn't
wife.
me. It was my wife. So then I felt, well, I guess I better stand at least because she's standing and giving it the horns. Oh, I did it. The horns.
I did it. my hand's on fire.
Ouch. So she stood up and did that, and I'm like, well, I guess I better stand up.
You're a good
We're
husband.
getting in trouble, but
Good husband.
Yeah, good for you, Dave.
But hey, the band was great that night.
Yes.
Yeah,
it was nice to see the
They
band.
were amazing out there, and then of course A&M for the Battle of Flowers.
Yeah.
Stuff, they kind of made their way through a little bit faster.
I don't think the A&M band. Justin. What happened to the A&M? I don't know how we got on this subject, but they didn't even stop, did they?
They were in a
It's like they
hurry.
had a place to be.
They
were awesome.
They were great,
They
but they
were.
didn't like stop and
They
play
were
to the crowd.
fast, though.
Is your hand frozen? Okay, you can do it.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Hey, you
No, it
look
was
like
great
an
to see
ad.
Good
It was
stuff.
great to see both those bands.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on this, but that was.
So Spurs in Paris next season,
Yeah.
and Zeke is back with the Cowboys.
There you
Very busy Sports Monday so far.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
A lot of fun.
Y'all did a great job at the parade, by the way.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
So did our crew on
was a lot of
Saturday
fun.
night. That was awesome
It was
stuff.
fun.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
stuff.
guys. Appreciate it. 9:42, 75 degrees. You're watching GMSA at night.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's look out there with Zoo Cam. Our friends, the flamingos, just hanging out there, basking in the humidity and the sun. But it's supposed to be less humid, right? Later on.
They're coming down from that Fiesta.
The Fiesta High.
Oh, there's a squirrel.
Yeah, it's one of those zoo squirrels.
Oof.
They're not allowed to leave the grounds.
No.
Those squirrels are brave.
Yes,
Yes, they are.
There's a lot of, what am I thinking of? They're like, the prey for a lot of the animals there.
Oh,
Yes.
that's where you're going with
Yes.
that. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
They gotta be
Gotcha.
Brave.
quick-
Predators. That's the word I was
moving.
looking for, yeah.
Quick moving squirrels.
At any rate, you're right. The sun's out. Temperatures are starting to warm up. It's going to be a warm afternoon. We're doing a little bit of a countdown.
All right.
Fellas.
Our producer said this morning it was 240 days till Christmas, but you're not going that far, right?
Well, I was going to put Christmas on there, but Mike Ostrays yelled at me.
Oh, see? So I'm not alone.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
What do we have?
So, fellas, don't forget Mother's Day.
Oh,
32
yeah.
days away.
Gotta take care of mama.
Plans now. Memorial Day, 28 days away.
Yep.
Summer begins in 52 days, if you can believe that. It's not too far away. And then the 4th of July is only 66 days
Very realistic timeline, buddy.
It's a nice timeline.
Yes.
Start with mom.
It's also hard to imagine that school's out less than a month at this point. So
Yes, for a lot of campuses, yes.
amazing. This year's flying by. But as we look at the satellite picture, we've got some clouds out there. It's partly cloudy at the moment. I think these clouds will continue to kind of clear out, and we may see a mostly sunny afternoon, which will lend itself to a warmer day. Now, if you're watching us from Uvalde over towards Pleasanton and Cotulla, a little bit more cloud cover for you, but that too should burn off a little bit later this afternoon. Here's the big picture, and here's our big comma-shaped storm system, which it stretches all the way down to the Gulf Coast, but we're on the back side of it now. And there are some big storms still going, just about to move into New Orleans. So this is a pretty powerful line that will bring some wind and rain there and some heavy rain to parts of Louisiana this morning. For us, 76, but there's the problem. It's 72 with the dew point, and that is thick air, even with a northerly breeze at about 6 miles per hour. It is warm and it is humid. Here's where I think we end up today. 90 degrees for a high, 86 for Fair Oaks Ranch, 90 in Castroville, and all the way up to 93 potentially in Carrizo Springs with humidity. Dew point trend, well, I wish I could tell you things get better, but they don't. There were some indications that maybe we get a front on Friday, but it's not looking so good for us as far as drier air coming in. So it stays sticky all the way through the extended forecast. Now, that humidity is eventually going to lead to some storms, I think. And let me take you to the forecast today. This is 7 o'clock. Does want to develop a few storms for our far southeastern counties, so we'll keep an eye on that. Still some energy down there, but I think San Antonio stays dry today. Now, as we get into tomorrow morning, clouds surge back in. We get some drizzle, some fog to start your Tuesday, and then by Tuesday afternoon, I don't think we'll see much, maybe a couple storms out west, but we're going to keep a 20% chance in the forecast. And we're going to fast forward here to 2 a.m. Wednesday. So early Wednesday morning, this model brings in a few showers and maybe a storm. And then by the time we get into Wednesday, this is 5 o'clock. Now, this particular model doesn't show a whole lot, but we talked about in the last half hour how where we have some little disturbances rolling through, and that can oftentimes be enough to get some storms going. So I've added or upped our rain chances on Wednesday to 40% and on Thursday to 40%, and there could be a couple strong storms mixed in there. It doesn't mean everyone's going to see storms, but that's kind of the general idea, and we're going to keep some small rain chances in there even going into the weekend. So it's one of those situations where you want to check back with us, check the KSAT weather app, and we'll, of course, keep you posted if anything does pop up. Generally, these would be during the afternoons.
'Tis the season.
It is the season, and almost climatologically speaking, this is the stretch where we often get severe weather around here. And by the way, yesterday was the anniversary of the Hondo hailstone, which is the largest hailstone recorded in Texas history. That was, I believe, 2 years ago.
Oh,
wow.
Okay. So at least this year is just a lot of rain, well, at least in the immediate area for Sunday morning yesterday.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Justin.
10 till 10, 77 degrees.
It's amazing what will go viral these days, and you can count on New York City to have some interesting characters walking around. So when we come back, why hundreds of people showed up this past weekend to see the Cheeseball Man.
Cheeseball Man! Cheeseball Man! Why were there hundreds of folks gathered in a New York City park this weekend shouting, Cheeseball Man?
Why do you think people are so infatuated with you?
I think everybody wants to be behind the mask.
It started with these flyers, which have been hanging all over Manhattan for a few months now. They hold a simple message from a masked man wishing to remain anonymous. Come see me eat this entire jar of cheese balls on April 27th.
I didn't really expect this many people to show up.
Well, they did. The festivities kicked off with a speech, as many took videos for social media. This one currently holds 10 million views. Then Cheeseball Man hyped up the crowd by running around holding a flag with his masked face on it. But of course, finally the time came when the guy going by Cheeseball Man would have to actually commit to consuming more than 2,000 calories of cheddar and cornmeal.
There was a moment that I was definitely going to throw up, and then people said keep it down really loudly, so I just kept it in.
I exchanged messages with folks who were there, most of them saying they went because they thought it sounded, quote, hilarious. One adding, quote, even from 2 blocks away you could hear the crowd. After almost a half hour, the now legendary Cheeseball Man finally accomplished his quest and then immediately signed autographs. He asked me not to disclose his name, but what I can tell you is that he is 22 years old, just graduated from NYU, and genuinely wants to be more than just a culinary conqueror.
I've been, trying to help people. I clean up the city. I pick up trash.
Are you doing all this in the mask?
Oh, I have to do it in the mask.
Sorry, Cheeseball. By the way, Cheeseball Man says he wants to run this back next year with an even bigger tub. So April 27th, 2025, bring your bib. It's going to get real cheese dusty. In New York for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Well, it wasn't just the mask either. It was the voice. It was kind of, just kind of weird voice.
Mark!
I hate to be a fun hater, but why? Why is this a thing?
Why not? It's what we need during this time of uncertainty, Justin Horn.
At least he didn't get sick. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Almost. He almost did.
He almost did. Can't believe you said that. Have a good day. Thanks for joining us.